On Capitol Hill, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Tension ran high, palpable in the crowded chamber. Every seat was filled, every eye glued to the proceedings. The air crackled with the weight of the decision about to be made. As the House prepared to vote on President Trump's signature domestic policy bill, the stakes couldn't have been higher. This was more than just another piece of legislation. It was a cornerstone of his agenda. A sweeping measure promising to reshape America's economic and social landscape, the bill had become a lightning rod for debate, igniting passions on both sides of the aisle. Its potential impact was far-reaching, touching every corner of American life. After weeks of fierce debate, amendments, and compromises, the moment of truth had arrived. The arguments had been made, the positions staked out, and now it was time for the representatives to cast their votes. The final tally was 218 to 214, a nail-biting finish that kept everyone on the edge of their seats until the very last vote was cast. A razor-thin margin that underscored deep national divisions, highlighting the deep ideological fault lines running through the country. The closeness of the vote reflected the profound disagreements over the direction of the nation. For Republicans, this was a crucial test of unity and leadership, a chance to prove they could govern effectively and deliver on their promises. In Trump's second term, the bill represented a key piece of his vision for America. Its success or failure would have significant implications for his legacy. The bill's passage signaled the party's ability to rally behind its leader and demonstrated their commitment to implementing his agenda, despite the opposition, and pushed through a bold, controversial agenda that promised to fundamentally alter the relationship between the government and the American people. Applause erupted from Republicans, a wave of celebration washing over their side of the chamber. While Democrats sat in somber silence, their faces etched with disappointment and concern about the future. A stark illustration of the partisan chasm in Congress, a divide that seemed to grow wider with each passing day. Supporters hailed the bill as a necessary economic course correction, a vital step towards restoring prosperity and opportunity for all Americans. Opponents called it a reckless gamble that would harm the vulnerable, exacerbating inequality and undermining the social safety net. The House victory gave the bill momentum to move to the Senate, where an even tougher fight was expected, setting the stage for even fiercer political battles as senators prepared to debate the bill's merits and potential consequences. For millions of Americans, the vote brought proposed changes to taxes, potentially impacting their financial well-being. Healthcare, with significant implications for access to medical services and the cost of insurance, and government services one step closer to reality, potentially reshaping the role of government in their lives. The journey was just beginning, with many more hurdles to overcome before the bill could become law. But this hard-fought win marked a defining moment in Trump's second term, a testament to his political resilience and determination to reshape the nation. Moments after the House vote concluded, a palpable sense of anticipation hung in the air. The nation waited with bated breath to see how the president would react to this pivotal moment in his legislative agenda. President Trump, never one to shy away from the spotlight or miss an opportunity to communicate directly with his supporters, swiftly declared victory on social media. His preferred platform became the immediate channel for his reaction. He wasted no time in calling the bill a tremendous win for the American people, framing it as a monumental achievement for his administration and a significant step forward for the country's economic future. Shortly thereafter, in a carefully orchestrated Rose Garden press conference, President Trump, visibly pleased and surrounded by a cadre of Republican leaders, took center stage. With characteristic enthusiasm, he touted the legislation as a big, beautiful bill that would unleash prosperity, promising a new era of economic growth and opportunity for all Americans. Trump assured his supporters that this legislative victory was just the beginning of a series of ambitious policy initiatives aimed at transforming the nation. He specifically promised more tax cuts, hinting at further reductions in the tax burden for both individuals and corporations. He also pledged significant spending reductions, vowing to streamline government and eliminate wasteful programs. And, reiterating a key promise from his campaign, he reaffirmed his commitment to enhanced border security, including the construction of a wall along the southern border. With a dismissive wave of his hand, he brushed aside Democratic criticism as mere political noise, dismissing their concerns as unfounded and politically motivated. insisting that history would ultimately judge the bill as a turning point, a watershed moment that would usher in an era of unprecedented prosperity and opportunity for the United States. The White House swiftly launched a comprehensive media blitz, deploying surrogates and communication specialists across various platforms. The focus of this media offensive was highlighting the projected tax cuts and the anticipated economic benefits that would supposedly accrue to all segments of the population. The administration's goal was clear: to proactively control the narrative surrounding the bill before opponents could effectively mobilize and shape public opinion against it. For Trump, this legislative victory was not just about immediate policy gains, it was fundamentally about solidifying his legacy as a transformative president. It was about proving to the American people and to future historians that he could deliver tangible results and effectively unite his party behind a common agenda. The victory lap that followed the House vote served to energize his loyal base of supporters, galvanizing them for future political battles. Furthermore, it solidified his authority within the Republican Party, reinforcing his position as the undisputed leader of the GOP. In the aftermath of the vote, Trump skillfully cast himself as the ultimate dealmaker, the master negotiator. He portrayed himself as the individual who had successfully brought Republicans together, bridging divides and forging consensus around a common legislative goal. The message emanating from the White House was crystal clear and carefully crafted. Trump was unequivocally back in charge, firmly at the helm of the nation's political agenda. And perhaps most importantly, in the eyes of his supporters, he was already delivering on the promises he had made during his campaign, fulfilling his pledges to bring about real change. The bill's passage was the result of relentless efforts to unite a fractured GOP. Republicans, fiscal conservatives, populists, and moderates were deeply divided over spending cuts and political risks. House leadership, with Trump's direct involvement, held closed-door meetings and made strategic concessions to win over skeptics. Trump's rallies and personal calls made it clear: a vote against the bill was a vote against him. Party whips tracked every member, offering incentives or warnings to secure votes. The message failure would be a catastrophic embarrassment and signal GOP dysfunction. In the end, most Republicans chose unity over reservations, delivering a hard-fought victory. The process was messy, but it proved the party could rally for a conservative agenda when it mattered most. As Republicans secured their win, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries staged a dramatic protest. Using the magic minute, Jeffries spoke for nearly 9 hours, breaking records and dominating headlines. He meticulously dismantled the bill, arguing it favored the wealthy at the expense of working families and the vulnerable. With charts and personal stories, he painted the legislation as fiscally irresponsible and morally bankrupt. The speech galvanized Democrats and drew national attention to their opposition. Though it didn't change the outcome, Jeffries' marathon address became a rallying cry and a symbol of determined resistance. His stand ensured the Democratic case was heard loud and clear across the country. Democrats mounted a unified, passionate opposition, framing the bill as a threat to economic equality and stability. They argued it was a giveaway to corporations and the wealthy, paid for by deep cuts to social programs millions rely on. Lawmakers shared stories of constituents, seniors, families, students, who would be hurt by the changes. Democrats also condemned the bill's environmental rollbacks, warning of long-term harm to the planet and America's global standing. Their strategy defined the bill as reckless and mobilized public opinion, setting the stage for future electoral battles. At the heart of Trump's bill is a sweeping tax overhaul, making his first-term tax cuts permanent for individuals and corporations. Supporters say this will provide certainty, spur investment, and fuel economic growth. The bill locks in a lower corporate tax rate, aiming to keep American companies competitive and encourage job creation. For individuals, it extends deductions and credits, promising savings for families. The administration argues that lower taxes will unleash innovation and prosperity, shrinking government's role in the economy. But the Congressional Budget Office projects the bill will add $3.4 trillion to the national debt over a decade. Critics warn the tax cuts are unpaid for and fiscally reckless. Supporters claim growth will offset costs, a debate that rages on. The bill's priorities are clear: tax reduction over deficit reduction, a gamble with lasting consequences. To offset tax cuts, the bill slashes federal safety net programs, fundamentally reshaping government support for the vulnerable. Medicaid faces deep cuts, likely forcing states to reduce benefits or eligibility, jeopardizing care for millions. Food aid programs are tightened, with stricter work requirements. Supporters call it reform, critics say it will increase food insecurity. Clean energy investments are rolled back, with funding slashed and environmental regulations repealed, shifting priorities to fossil fuels. Proponents argue this trims bureaucracy and fosters responsibility. Opponents call it a Robin Hood in reverse. The legislation shifts trillions from social and environmental programs to permanent tax cuts. The debate over these cuts will shape America's future and the role of government for years to come. The bill's fate in the Senate was uncertain, with Republicans holding only a slim majority. After intense negotiations, 3 GOP senators, Collins, Tillis, and Paul, broke ranks, citing concerns over debt and spending cuts. Their defections led to a 50-50 deadlock, putting the spotlight on Vice President J.D. Vance. In a dramatic moment, Vance cast the tie-breaking vote, securing passage and delivering a monumental win for the Trump administration. The final tally, 51-50, highlighted the precariousness of the GOP majority and the importance of party unity. The Senate's passage was a testament to political will and White House influence. Vance's decisive vote elevated his profile and underscored the stakes of every single vote. With both chambers' approval, the bill was on its way to the president's desk. The White House announced, with considerable fanfare and anticipation, that a pivotal moment in American policy was on the horizon. The president was poised to enact legislation that promised to reshape the nation's economic landscape. President Trump would sign the landmark bill into law on the 4th of July, a date deliberately chosen to amplify its significance. The signing ceremony itself was planned to be a grand affair, broadcast across the nation. This strategic timing made it the centerpiece of Independence Day celebrations, intertwining the bill's fate with the very spirit of American freedom and self-determination. The White House was adorned with patriotic decorations, setting the stage for a momentous occasion. The timing was deliberate, framing the legislation as a new declaration of economic independence, a bold step towards a future where American businesses could thrive unburdened by excessive regulation. This was about more than just economics. It was about aligning it with America's founding ideals, echoing the principles of liberty, opportunity, and the pursuit of happiness that have defined the nation since its inception. Supporters see the bill as a path to prosperity, freedom, and a more competitive nation, believing it will unleash the full potential of the American economy and create jobs for generations to come. They are celebrating the rollback of taxes and regulations, hailing it as a victory for small businesses and entrepreneurs who have long struggled under the weight of government bureaucracy. Opponents, however, warn of rising debt, a shredded safety net, and deepening inequality, painting a starkly different picture of the bill's potential consequences. They are fearing lasting harm to the vulnerable and the environment, arguing that the bill's benefits will disproportionately favor the wealthy while leaving the most vulnerable behind. As Trump prepares to sign, with the stroke of a pen, he is about to set in motion a series of changes that will reverberate throughout American society. Americans are left to weigh the bill's sweeping changes, grappling with the potential implications for their livelihoods, their communities, and the future of their nation. They are left to consider what they mean for their families and communities, engaging in conversations around dinner tables and in town halls across the country. The impact will unfold gradually, like a slow-motion wave washing over the American landscape, its effects subtle at first but ultimately transformative. This will be reshaping households, businesses, and government's role in daily life, altering the very fabric of American society in ways that are both profound and unpredictable. The 4th of July signing marks not an endpoint, but a symbolic threshold, a line drawn in the sand that separates the old America from the new. It is but the start of a new and deeply contested chapter in America's story, a chapter filled with both promise and peril, hope and uncertainty.